your seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and Kerr bringing topics of all kinds, from cigars to sports, family and more. Everyday stories you'll want to explore. So take a puff or ponder away. Join the talk, it's the highlight of your day. Puff and ponder where the sparks ignite. Conversations blazing day or night. Tune in now, let the stories take flight. It's the Puff and Ponder podcast, where we get it right. From fast cars to last night's game, family laughs or today's big name. We've got the topics, we've got the vibe. Stay tuned in and enjoy the ride. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate. Oh, hesitate.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. I'm your host, Kevin Shahan, and join me, as always, my co-host, Kerr Viajante. Let me just swap sides of the screen here so I can see us better. What is going on, Kerry?
It's going, buddy. How you been, man?
Oh, not too bad. Let me grab my cutter and lighter, and just had to have strong words with one of the children. That, I mean, I know it's summer break and all, and when you sit around for 12, 14 hours a day, I know it's kind of a pain sometimes to get up to put the dishes away, you know, and
yes, it's a struggle.
Yeah, the struggle's real, Kerr.
I've seen Wyatt. I've seen Wyatt take a break in between loading and unloading. I can't make that shit up.
Oh my God!
Can't make that shit up, man. I was like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, man, I gotta go lay down.
Yeah.
He's like, that unloading is pretty tough, right? He's like, oh man, I gotta do something before I go load that dishwasher again. I'm like, you want an energy drink, maybe? You know, something.
Yeah.
Something,
oh my
something
God!
like that. May help you out a little bit. You know, you want to maybe I could stretch your legs out a little bit. You know, you want to lay down, stretch out the hammies.
yeah. You don't want to pull a hammy. So yeah, it's just I don't know what it is, you know. I mean, I know as when I was a kid, like there were a lot of things I had to be asked to do. You know, like because nobody wants to do them, but once you were asked, you just knew there was no second asking.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's just I mean, we just let's get
off.
We
all knew how to play the stall ball game. We all knew how to freaking make ourselves unavailable at certain times. You know, my brother and sister did the same thing because, you know, they were the dishwasher and dish dryer back in the day, the manual. So, you know, you kind of knew how to be, you know, vacant when you needed to be. My sister always picked to dry the dishes because then after my brother's done washing them, she'd play stall ball and they would dry on their own.
Yeah.
You know, so she was smart. But yeah, I mean, we all know how to play the game.
That's it. You know, but one thing I always did, my room was always spotless as a kid. I always shared it with my brother, so you could draw a line down the center of the room. You knew which half of the room Kevin slept on and did everything, and you knew half my brother was on, because like my half was, I'd vacuum my half of the room. Everything was always done right. So
yeah, I shared a room with my brother too, and you know, but it was the big difference was our age group. I mean, he's 64, 63. He's 7 years older than I am. Yeah, so I was 7. He's 14. So there's nothing like 7-year-old spend, sharing a room with a freaking 14-year-old freaking, triathlete going through puberty. That's always a fun, smelly
Yeah, that
adventure.
yeah, you literally have toys everywhere. He's got
Yeah.
smelly, stinky clothes
Right.
everywhere.
Freaking sticky socks and freaking Lord knows
Yeah.
whatever else he's got in
Yeah.
there. So I'm drinking.
Oh my.
I'm smoking the old deconstructed sweetgrass gringo tonight. What are you smoking?
I was digging through my miscellaneous box and I found it was from I forget who Oscar. This is the Alter Q, the one that has the yeah, I'd never had this cigar. I don't even know
Really?
where I got it.
It's not a bad
Yeah.
cigar.
Yeah. It
Oscar makes
looked it
good
looked
cigars. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, but yeah, like everything else, I don't like everything he does, but
right.
for the most part, I think I like the majority of his cigars.
I mean, the 2012 series, I thought were those box press. I thought were just very airy, and they burn real quick.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with those. Like those were missing like a full leaf. Like those were always and then leaf by Oscar. So yeah, he kept it. That was the angel share that Oscar kept out of every cigar.
Well,
So
I think they were made that way. I mean, you can make some with box presses. You're already going to be shortchanging the tobacco in
yeah.
that form. But I also think that there is that style of making a more airy cigar with a good pull. But what happens, I may be wrong, but if it was intentional, but to have if you got a couple cigars like that, it'd be like, okay, there's an issue. But every single one I smoked, exact same thing. Super light.
Yeah.
Probably not paying a lot of. You're probably paying less than those tobacco taxes. Super light,
Yeah.
but man, it burns so flipping quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, it's been a while, but I do remember them being an airy cigar. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So, how's things going? What's the tea? Yeah. How you had a big weekend, Care. You had something that I will never do. You had a garage sale. This guess what is that, your third garage sale of the year?
No, Kevin.
Is a second?
No, Kevin. It's our first of the year. We
Oh,
were
is
going
it?
to
Okay.
we were going to have one earlier, but this was more of a garage / estate sale
Okay.
because a lot of it was Jennifer's mother's, who when she moved down here from New Jersey and for a couple of months went back up. Um, you know, had the pleasure of moving in that house a couple of times, which was great. And real light, furniture too. But yeah, it was Jennifer hates yard sales to begin with. So to couple it with a two day garage and
Extravaganza.
and and estate sale, it definitely was hot and it definitely was annoying. It wasn't bad. I mean, I think we did as well as I think what we expected. I mean, listen, you got to roll up and buy a freaking roll top desk, for a couple $100. That's super heavy. It doesn't happen all the time, but um, you know, the stuff that did sell, it was good, and we had a lot. We had some stuff left over. We donated a lot of it. We do have some furniture left over.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you like how much stuff you had. Do you have enough for a whole nother garage sale, or is it
No,
just
I will not. I
something
will
like
not. I will not. I'm actually think I would consider putting this on marketplace because it's like there's some antique sewing machines that are really nice and
that? Yeah.
intact. Roll top desk, and a couple other things, but yeah, everything else. Um, we did have this cherry cabinet. It was a cherry secretary cabinet that I was like, it wasn't selling. It wasn't selling. I'm like, you know what? That's going in the lounge. That kind of fits some things. It's nice. It's going to replace the old humidor over there that I use as shelving. And as I started like taking off the stuff and was looking at my old humidor and what I'm going to take out, I turned around and Jennifer's like, "Yeah, the neighbors bought the cherry cabinet." I was like, "Son of a bitch!"
Oh, your neighbors at
Yeah, yeah.
that. So yeah.
That's the winner of this sale was our next door neighbors.
Okay. Yeah, because they didn't have to haul it away. They just bring it next door.
Yeah, super nice. The kids came over. The boys came over. They got a 4-year-old and 8-year-old. They were very helpful. You know, I had to help them back over across the onto their side a couple of times, but overall, for being 8 and 4, they were helpful. But some of the stuff that they were interested in, it was like, you're the neighbors. We're good neighbors. Yeah, not sell them here. We'll give you a discount. We'll do this, do that. They definitely, it's always good to be able to help folks out.
Yeah, as long as they don't come over at, hey, this hinge is broken, or this drawer.
Well, we already got the light switch. They're like, hey, that Tiffany lamp you sold us, the one side doesn't work. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. It worked when we gave it to you. You can either return it, or they're like, no, it's fine. I'm like, all right, just let you know. We did have some people show up. It was funny. It was we were all sitting around, and I had these thoughts that go through my head, these comments, and then I realized, you can't be too much of a dick to someone who's showing up at your house and knows where you live. Right? You gotta have some fucking common sense, right? So we're sitting there, and this lady shows up. She's like, hey, we had these 1970 folding chairs. She's like, hey, how much for the chairs? And we're like, not for sale. She's like, they were in the pictures, and I came here specifically for those chairs.
Okay, $500.
And I'm thinking to myself, my foot was in one of the fucking pictures. I'm not going to sell you my foot. And Jen's like, no, I'm sorry, they're not for sale. She's like, but I came here for them. We're like, and they are not for sale. But like you said, Jen was like adamant on saying no. I'd have been like, $200. No, you don't want to buy them. Well, it looks like you did come over to buy them. But yeah, that thought went through my head, like my foot was in a picture, and I was like, I should say that. And I'm like, nah, they know where we live. I don't need my property messed up. You just say, I'm sorry.
That's it. I've got some tires for sale on Marketplace now. I bought the new Acadia, and I wanted Bridgestones on it. So I mean, the tires I took off still had the whiskers on them. They were brand new. Mm-hmm. So I got them like on Marketplace for like $400. And people are like, oh, what's the best price you can do? It was $400. I go, these are $900 worth of tires.
Yeah,
brand new. Go buy them somewhere else.
Yeah.
I put the best price I can do on there.
You can get these exactly like this for $900.
Yeah. So I'm giving you for $400.
That's freaking great. We got something for Jessica.
The little miniatures. Yeah. Those will go good in her Harry Potter Christmas themed
Here's Harry's eggs for breakfast. Hello, Harry Potter. Would you like to have a crate of eggs? Yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff in here. I think she'll enjoy it, Yeah.
Right on. Well, before we dive deep into the show, we want to take a moment to thank a couple of companies for supporting the show. If you're watching this, you already know the beard is looking sharp. And if you're just listening, go ahead and picture greatness. I keep it that way with two secret weapons, simpler hair and beard color, and my company, Irish Beard Balm. Simpler knocks out the grays. No mess, no mixing, just quick, clean, natural looking results. Then Irish Beard Balm steps in to keep the beard soft, healthy, and legendary. No gimmicks, just results. Want to level up your look? Hit the links in the description and thank me later. So, Kerr,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Two things too. One is we did get a couple of cigar smokers and enthusiasts.
Right on.
Cigars while we were selling, because I'm like, you know what? This is my property. I will smoke cigars. If you don't like the smoke, then go over there. And so guys, they bundled a bunch of stuff together and got some stuff. So I gave them a Sandela, and then we got 2 new subscribers to the podcast.
Oh, right
on.
Right
there on their phone, looking it up, and said, "Okay, I subscribe." So, thank you to both of those folks. Super nice people. Since they were cigar smokers, they were probably the nicest folks who showed up. But they hopped on to I think YouTube, and I think Rumble, both of them.
Oh, right on. I was just looking at like I never checked the Puff and Ponder podcast YouTube channel. I mean, I do my Mechanic Diary videos, and we do this one over here as well. But we got like 4,500 subscribers, you know, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty, you know, pretty good, you know, for just a new channel that just started off this year. So just goes to prove that the tobacco content really is being you know,
it reminds me of
when
you and I had the conversation. And I've been watching Seinfeld. It was like when they pitched the Seinfeld show to NBC, and on the series. It's like, it's a show about nothing. What did you do today, Kevin? I went to work. I went to work today. I tried to sell some tires on the marketplace. I came home. That's a show.
That's a show. So
what'd you do with me, Kerry? I had a yard sale, an estate sale. That's a show.
That's it.
A show about nothing.
Show about nothing. So I know YouTube's cracking down again. I know Mac 912, he did a video last night and didn't say anything YouTube, but he did have like a 2-minute intro to the video. It's like this is for 21 and up adults, and it was just a whole thing. If you know tobacco and everything else, and it's like, oh, you can kind of read between the lines that we're being hit again. And you know, he'd said that he was going to start posting on Substack, and I have a Substack, and I probably should start using it. I don't understand
what the hell is Substack. 100%.
I'm not 100% sure what. So Substack is, looking at it, it almost looks like a Twitter feed, but you can have subscriptions. So you can have like free content that you can put out, and then within that you can have like paid, almost like a Patreon, where you can have a paid part of your, you know, feed, to where if you wanted extra content, extra videos, people could pay a monthly subscription. And then I don't know, I just got to look more into it. So because I keep hearing more.
2017.
Yeah, you know, I've been so every, you know, I love John Kiriakou, one of my favorite. He's the CIA analyst that or operative that broke the news on the CIA torture program. And so every video he does, I love John Kiriakou, and he's always been saying, oh, you know, you can find me on Substack. So I signed up a few months ago, and so I got to go over there and look. So it's a lot of like blog posts, but then I guess they're just now starting to introduce some videos. So I don't know.
Yeah, it looks like you can select your interests, whether it's health, politics, food, drink, you know, all that typical crap. You know, interesting.
Yeah, it's YouTube got another. Oh, who RJ? Who was it? Mac? Because he did start off the videos. Yeah, you know, I've been away for for a little bit. So yeah, I wonder who they got now, and they've left me alone because I don't post anything even remotely. You know, no more cigar reviews, no more giveaways. They got Jeremy Sears. Wow, that's did he do a video on that, RJ? I'd like to look that up, because Jeremy's got, I mean, he's a big channel.
Yeah.
So what's going on, Pete? Yeah, Jeremy, something with demonetize. Oh, yeah, because Jeremy does he's been getting more into cigar and alcohol. Well, he's always been in the alcohol, but he's been getting more into the cigar stuff, and ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. You know, that's a YouTube demonetization thing. So, but he's, you know, he's making bank too. He's got advertisers, and you know, he's got people sending him stuff, and you know, he does an unboxing, and I imagine Jeremy probably charges a couple grand for an unboxing. So,
oh, he's in St. Augustine.
Oh, is he all the way up? I thought he was down in Tampa. So up in St. Augustine. Okay.
It says send stuff to Sears Studio Works in St. Augustine.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought he was a little further down my way, but yeah, no, I didn't. Yeah, I know he's a Florida boy. So, but he's
he has a 16-minute video.
Oh, they took a super chat away during his live, and oh wow,
he's got a 16-minute video from 5 years ago called "What is the best way to cut a cigar" with 3.8 million views.
I know, and I've tried to reach out to him a couple times, because Jeremy's really into brass. You know, all his EDC stuff he loves, and I watched one of his videos, we had like a little EDC pouch, and I'm like, oh, I'd comment like, hey, let me send you. I got a brass bleeding tool. I'm like, no promotions, no nothing. I enjoy your content. Let me send this to you. And yeah, like completely I messaged him a couple times. Completely ghosted me. I'm like, oh, whatever.
How the hell does he not know who the fuck you are, Kevin?
Yeah, right. So it's like my favorite comedian on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Can't think of his name right now. And I saw him smoking cigars in a video. And Luke Capistrano or Luke Capasso, stand-up comedian, and he's a handyman. So he does a lot of handyman videos, tells you. And he saw him like said something about cigars, and I DM'd him like, hey, let me send you some cigars. And then he's like, yeah, he goes, I'll give you a shout out. I'm like, no, do not give me a shout out. I go, you'll get deplatformed. I go, it's not why I'm sending them to you. I really enjoy your content. It makes me laugh until I throw up sometimes. I go, the cigars are yours. So I've sent him some cigars a couple of times. He's always thankful for them. So that's the least I can do, because I know how hard this is to make content all the time. And so and I know he's super grateful. So I don't know, but here they have a camera channel showing open air. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's insane. It's just what's okay, what's not okay. It's not enough that you have to be signed in to YouTube to watch our content. So if you're signing into YouTube and you're an adult, you should be able to watch, someone smoke a cigar and talk about it. It's
yeah, you know how it goes though, man. I mean, it's this we could say that reality, that objective reality, is blown in the face.
That's it.
It's the same thing. Listen, I mean, it's the argument of, if you're 18 and you can go to war and die for your country, and you're 21, you can drink. Why can't you buy, tobacco products? It is the babying of the citizens.
That's it. And then fighting the cops is okay. Jessica's probably not listening to this, but yeah, so everybody's been seeing that Fox News coverage of the Antifa that got tased after trying to stab the ICE agent, and then they coined a new term because she's transgender, nothing wrong with that, but they coined the phrase Trantifa, and it's just like they so want a phrase coined after me. I don't care what it is, but and it's a friend.
You want to be the origin story?
I do, but it's a girl that Jessica went to high school with, and so a lot of mental illness behind the scenes. So we're not going to make fun or anything like that. I'm just teasing about the.
You're not making fun of the mental illness and stuff. I mean, but if someone attacks an officer,
runs after him with a knife.
I don't know, man. I guess some days I just feel like I keep my mouth shut, because I feel like, is it just to the fact that, am I missing something? Do I oversimplify things? But or am I not a rebel? But cop pulls you over, asks you questions, you answer him. Cop's standing there and he says, hey, you can't go past this line. I'm not going to be like, okay, let me throw something at you and let's see exactly if I can get you to tase me. No, it's like, okay, peaceful protest. That's what the country's about. That's what we do. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be there. And if you don't do that, and if you choose otherwise, the odds of you getting hurt is really, really high, because they came prepared, and you showed up not quite as prepared.
That's it. Now, Matt, is he allowed? So it's 18 to drink in Japan. Is he allowed to drink on the military base at 18, or is he still got to be 21, because that's U.S. law? So I'm assuming if he's out and about, he can drink. I'm just wondering how that works on the military base. Yeah. That's intriguing. Now they're targeting firefighters. I saw that, and on that.
Well, that's just stupid. I've seen that in the past before. I mean, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's my dad's hat. That's my dad's cap that I wear in honor of him. I've seen that before.
He can drink on the base. Yeah.
Especially when they're coming to, like, It's like, hey, my business is on fire, but the neighbor's house is on fire. And you're just like, what? You're gonna, yeah, there you go. That makes a lot of sense. Just block the firefighters, attack them. I just honestly, it's you can't be that stupid.
Yeah.
You can't be. I mean, I get, and that's the thing is I understand frustration. I understand, that there are bad apples in all professions, and unfortunately, when you have bad apples in the police, whatever, they have the ability to misuse their power, and it can be deadly. It can be deadly. Unlike freaking Dollar General manager who's an asshole, right? I mean,
Yeah.
uh, I get that part, but there is just a line that when you start crossing, that you you lose credibility.
Yeah.
You just lose credibility, and I think there's been a number of examples with a number of folks that when you get to that point where you're objectively, it just doesn't make sense. You start losing credibility, and I also think that you start harming and devaluing the fight, or the purpose of your fighting, or the purpose of your protesting. And then you'll see it then becomes a punchline, and then you're not taken seriously anymore. Again, you
Yeah.
lose credibility, and you actually do a disservice. So if you are someone who has a cause, and God bless you. I'm all for it. I believe that there's a lot of injustices out there, and if you have a cause, you're fighting for that cause. I may not agree with it or whatever, but I support you 100% because that's a beautiful thing. When you start acting like a fool or start acting out violence, et cetera, you start losing credibility, and the value that is on that cause is diminished, and then it becomes a fucking punchline. And when your cause becomes a punchline, then then you've completely undermined the exact reason why you even got into what you're doing. And when there's other people who are also fighting for that same cause, if they're not smart enough to call you out and reject you, then they're culpable as well. You
Yeah.
see it happen all
You're
the
right.
time.
Yeah. It's hold on one second. Skylar, go potty. She thinks you're doing snacks. Oh, I didn't turn the volume off. Skylar was wanting to go potty. Yeah, you're 100% right. It's every group has these extremists, and it's just I don't know. It's nuts. It's just they just hate the orange man so much, and like they just hate this country, and it's just I don't know. It's getting ridiculous. Everything is a fight. We see that here in Florida, Alligator Alcatraz. Oh my God, we're seeing them line up protesting, line up. We got the indigenous people here, the native peoples here. I'd like to see who's paying them to get out there, because this is an airport that's been it's been here since the 70s, and and now they're not building anything else. They're not expanding into the Everglades. They're just bringing, now they're like, well, all these trucks are going to be driving. Oh, you're on Alligator Alley. It's 500,000 cars a day. So we got what?
Yeah.
Six more trucks that are coming in and out. That's going to add to the pollution of the Everglades. You built a 6-lane highway through the center of the largest Everglades in the US, or swamp, to cut off all types of flow and circulation. And, with Lake Okeechobee and everything else, and Everglades are slowly dying, but you're not out there every other day, asking them to tear up the highway.
Yeah, you were out there protesting when they built that big ass freaking, smog making freaking thoroughfare. It's not even, like you said, it's not even when, I mean, when I make my statement, it's in general, just not, the orange man or politics. It's everything. And it's always, in my opinion, it's called good housekeeping. If you have a legit cause and a legit freaking purpose, whenever you start letting in the extremists, if you can't manage what is going on within your own groups and your own, or you can't denied those folks or disown them or whatever you want to, the terminology or
Yeah.
phrase you want to use, then you're gonna lose credibility. But the problem is this, is that everybody's so insecure that they feel like if I, say, well, hey, listen, here's my group, here's what I believe. But those people, they're doing, they're crazy, they're extremists. I know they're doing it, under the same banner as my fight and my cause, but I don't support that. I don't condone that because they're fucking out there. So here's my cause, and here's why I'm fighting my cause, and here's the reason why I'm standing up for what I believe in. I do not associate or want them to be associated with my group. And then they think that by doing that, that you are going to, by default, um, undermine your own cause. But you don't.
Yeah.
I think you build your cause more credibility and strength by doing that, because you are allowing folks in there who actually have the same beliefs. When you start allowing extremists to dictate the narrative, you will not be taken serious.
Yeah. 100% agree.
Any side of the aisle, whatever fight I don't care if it's Republican, Democrat, I don't care if it's freaking religious, whatever. And you got people out there just completely batshit crazy off the rocker. It's like, damn, I was going to go out and I was going to protest, but those crazy people out there, I won't be seen with them.
Yeah, it was the remember the church years ago that would protest at all the funerals for the
Yeah.
soldiers, and forget what luckily they kind of went away, and but yeah, they're the same. There's a lot of people in that church. That's not what they believed, because I guess it started off as like a real church,
Mhm.
Christian church, and then it just you had a few of the fanaticals take over, and we see where that went, so.
Yeah,
But
they actually came out, though, is Westboro Baptist Church.
yeah, Westboro Baptist.
Yeah. They years ago, I think it was them, they came out to protest back in my hometown, back in Pennsylvania. One of the high schools, they had a gay student. I think they committed suicide or something, and they came out to protest, because they were going to do a day of mourning and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so, again, you're in America, you have a right to protest. You're in this specific area, so you have to buy a like not a pass, but you have to buy you have to get
Like a permit.
a permit. Thank you. You have to get a
Yeah.
permit. So like, okay, do you have your permit? Yeah. Okay, great. So you have your permit. We have our protesting areas, and they put these fucking people all the way out in the middle of nowhere in like this 12 by 12 roped off area. It was like, here is the allocated area for you to protest. And they still sat there with their signs, act like fools. But when you would drive by the school, it just looked like this little blip out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it again, it was like, you're exercising your rights. It's America. But you know what? Unfortunately, stupidity and ignorance is not against the law, but there are ways of dealing with it.
Yeah. Oh,
Those
I
fucking off the rocker, bro.
yeah. I'm surprised they were allowed to keep the Baptist name. How did the church let them hang on to that?
It's like anything else. I mean, they all, I think some of these secular groups, I mean, they as long as they have their uh, uh, permits and whatever else, and they can they can establish themselves as a church. They have to have, they want to pick a denomination. They pick the denomination they want to follow, so they can be considered Baptist. And so again, if you're a Baptist and you're looking at that church and they're like, man, stay far away from me, bro. This is not what we're preaching over here in our church.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. But I remember that group, man. They protested. Seemed like they were protesting everything.
Yeah, everything. I never ran into them. We did have, like, up in the Tampa area, they were coming to boycott or protest during a soldier's funeral, and a buddy of mine was in a motorcycle club, and they blocked the road, going into the church, and into the cemetery, like far out where you couldn't even hear them. you know, and they're like, oh, we have a right to be here. And they're like, yeah, get around us. Like,
Yeah.
you feel froggy, leave,
Yep.
you know, and those guys, you know, they missed the funeral of their brother, you know, but to keep these people out, you know, and yeah, they didn't they didn't dare cross that line.
Yeah, here's where we need to have Brad to come in and weigh in, because I did look up that they have their main belief is based off the five points of Calvinism.
Oh yeah.
You know, so when you start getting into that, you know, that type of doctrine, you're like, okay, that's one of those moments, Kev, where we start looking stuff up and it's like 3 hours later, you know, it's like, why in the hell? I just went down this rabbit hole. I didn't need to know this. I didn't, but I had to research it, and one thing led to another. John Calvin. Next thing I know damn 5 points of Calvinism is, and I know now why they're crazy, but I don't feel any better about it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and Matt's right. And Matt, you're a Navy guy. My little brother just made Chief Warrant Officer 3, CWO3 in the Navy. So he's only got 4 more years, and he gets to retire. And then Abe over at Smoke Inn, his general manager Matt Briggs Jr. had a nice photo the other day, and his whites and his little blue scarf or I don't know what the thing he called around his neck, and he's getting ready to leave and shipping off to the Navy. Young cat, and super proud of them.
Congratulations. That's fantastic, man. That is
yeah,
awesome.
I have Matt, I've got some guys that are stationed out in Japan, and they buy some stuff. They've got, I have this little sign on they look like street signs on a little mini street sign pole, and it says "Fuck Around Street" and "Find Out Boulevard," and they bought a bunch of them because that's their fofo. That's their motto on their ship. So
oh, really?
I print them in blue and gold, you know, their colors. So
that's great. I think Joe's got that in his room.
Yeah, those guys loved him out there. So super fun.
So Kevin, I know you have a question that you wanted to talk about tonight, and I'm wondering, do we want to ask that question and address it a little bit later? We get some more viewers, because I think it's a great question. But I didn't know if you wanted to do it now or wait.
We got 27 people watching. I mean, usually we're around 35, so we're probably right there.
Okay,
you know.
Right.
So yeah.
No, I wasn't sure if you wanted to do that, or if you wanted to maybe talk about a prosecutor seeking murder charges on the 2 guys accused of the deaths of those 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans last year. Do you remember that story? The 3 guys who they all went to a big.
No.
Yeah, you don't remember that story?
No, what happened?
They went to a Super Bowl party, right? So
yeah,
and they're all hanging out. And it was like the next day, 3 guys just didn't. They weren't there. So apparently, the other guys at the house were like, I don't know. I think they left. Well, they were dead in the backyard.
Oh man!
And I think they knew about it. They died of fentanyl overdose. So apparently, these 2 guys who were they discovered their bodies outside. They knew right there. They're being charged with murder.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't can't believe you don't remember that. That was it was one of those things where it's like, you know, nobody knew where they were the next day. Like, I don't know, they weren't here. They thought that everybody left. And I think it was cold out in there. It was like 20 some degrees, and they're out in the backyard.
Man, as they should be. If they even if they didn't have anything to do with it, if they covered it up, you know, they're complicit in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the only one I remember was the thing I remember reading on the news. The little kid, he was like 5 or something, and he had his face painted.
Oh yeah,
like half. You know, absurd. You know, and that I just read something on that again like a week or 2 ago that, you know, they're still suing these, you know, news agencies for basically calling this kid racist for wearing blackface, you know, and they
black
only,
and red. It was
they only showed the black, and then he come to find out he's like a quarter Native American or something, so yeah, and it was a little kid with
Oh
his
my
face on,
god!
and oh my god, so
You wonder
that
why
was
people are stupid when that's then when the news agencies. That's why I just laugh at the news. I don't even read it. I skim over it. It's just
yeah,
so much
you, you
stupidity and clickbait. Oh,
yeah,
oh,
Joe Rogan just had on Bernie Sanders. It was actually a really good interview.
I
I
saw
just
bits
watched
and
it.
pieces of it.
Yeah, I just finished it. Takes me a couple days watching it 20
Uh-huh.
minutes at a time. But the one thing Bernie was and he doesn't know all his facts all the time either, so when he said, Trump shouldn't be suing these news agencies, and Joe's like, basically like, somebody's got to hold these people accountable. If they just keep just spouting their shit and getting to say whatever they want with no repercussions, they're gonna keep doing it, and Joe, and he even said, he goes, I could have sued, for all the things they said about me. But you
Yeah.
know what? I just, he let it go. And he was trying to explain to Bernie like what Trump was suing over. And he was, well, I don't know all the details of that. Come on, Bernie.
Yeah,
It's
you
all over
do.
it's all over the news. What's going on with that.
They do. They play
So
stupid. It has nothing to do with Trump. They're all fucking ridiculous. And what they dragged Joe Rogan, good Lord Almighty, he did. He had every right. Especially when
yeah,
they find out that a lot of shit he was saying was actually true and accurate, and they were definitely exaggerating. And you know what the sad part about it is anymore is it's not like it was back in the day when it was like, hey, you know, Ronald Reagan said, or George Bush said, or Kennedy said, and he was with this person. Like, yeah, well, that's just hearsay. Now
yeah.
it's like a clip of them actually saying the words. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and you're like,
It's the
well,
same way.
fuck, like seriously, it's not even arguable.
Yeah, it's the same with the new big beautiful bill that's coming out. And the Democrats are Chuck Schumer's like, we're going to make them read all 900 pages on the floor, which is going to take like 13 hours. But then they're showing clips of Nancy Pelosi when they passed that 700-800 page bill, and she said, well, you got to pass it to find out what's in it.
You gotta pass
It's
the
like,
bill. No, that was the healthcare bill.
yeah, you got to pass it to find out what's in it. And it's just like, why? Well, I thought that's just what we always did. Oh, but no, because
Yeah,
it's not your side now.
yeah.
We gotta,
That's politics,
so
man. It is so hypocritical. It's comical on both sides of the aisle. But man, when you just see it, and listen, for a moment, people should just take their glasses off and stop looking through Democrat or Republican freaking glasses and hate everything, and just really look at the nonsense and the BS that goes on both sides, and hold yourself to a higher standard of objectivity and belief, because it is just ridiculous when they're like, "Hey, Trump dropped, 16 bombs in Iran, and you know what, man, that's not constitutional." And they're like, "Well,
yeah,
let's take a look at the last four presidents and see how many freaking bombs they
yeah,
dropped that they didn't get congressional freaking approval for. How many countries?" And it's like, it's not like 16 versus 30. It's like they dropped 2,800 bombs or 16,000. It's amazing. It's amazing when you look at that. And again, I look at things objectively, and arithmetic's not an opinion. It's just not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 100% agreed. And
Not.
also you've been following the New York mayoral race. Oh, that there's no way that guy's getting in. He won. These midterms, nobody votes, even in our town. Like if it's not during a presidential cycle, you're lucky to get 5% turnout. But
Yeah.
after the shit he's spouting, no way does he go on to I'm his just the things. And then now AOC is being dragged in it because she's touting him. Now they're looking up from Jenny from the block there. Oh, come to find out you're not from the Bronx. You grew up in an affluent neighborhood, went to an affluent school, and you never grew up in Brooklyn, but you keep saying that. So now they're digging into her. So Yeah, it's this guy is insane.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know, man. Nothing surprises me anymore, especially when it comes out of a, a city and a state like New York. Nothing would surprise me. To be perfectly honest. So this this you know he knocked out Cuomo, right? So he's
Yeah.
he's now the Democratic nominee.
Well, not yet because they have a what's that tiered voting? So they have to go through one or two more levels, don't they?
Well, they have to go through the
Rank.
nominee certificate. Is
Oh no,
what that's their
they have
certification.
they have ranked choice voting. So don't they have to vote two more times?
Right. Yeah. So
Be-
so basically, it's he's the presumptive nominee, right?
yeah.
Based off the results, and then if he's the official winner, then he'll be determined
Yeah,
after
you're right.
that ranked choice voting, right? Yeah. But then from there, then they got to go through the whole Democratic nomination certificate, certifying, through the Democratic Party, and then they got to go into the general election.
Yeah. So in theory, he can get knocked out on the next round. If the other, I just don't know how he did in the ranked choice, but like his versus the other people. Because it was yeah, I kind of read up on the ranked choice because I think Alaska went to that, and it's really weird how that works. So
Yeah,
he can be knocked out on the next one if someone else gets more votes, and then that person goes.
it'll be
To,
it'll be it'll be interesting because right now everything's pointing to him being the nominee, and
yeah, because then
and
then it's gonna be Cuomo and the current mayor, Eric. Was it Eric
Eric
Adams?
Adams, they're
You know,
they're good. They're
what
both going to run as independents.
Yeah, so they're going to both run as independents. Cuomo shouldn't be. I mean, Cuomo shouldn't be in. They kicked him out for a reason.
No, that guy,
So
he's like
it,
just he's like a bad penny. Keep turning up.
yeah,
And then you got I was looking up here. That was is Curtis Silva, who is the Republican candidate. And he is, and I was like, that name looks familiar. I don't know why. And then I Googled it. I saw the picture. I'm like, son of a bitch. He's the founder of the Guardian Angels.
really.
Yep.
How did he? Well, I'm assuming he got his like the most votes on his side. Or
Yeah. I mean,
okay,
he's the nominee. I guess. I mean, he's. I knew that he's a talk show host and everything else. You've seen him around. He's got the red beret on and everything. But um, I don't know what to make of this shit show that is going to be the New York election between this Mamdani, Eric Adams, and Cuomo. But you got three Democrats really. Two of them are going to run as independents, and then you got a
yeah,
third independent. You got another independent. You got this guy who's Guardian Angel, who's part of the Republicans. It's man.
yeah, and RJ Eric had to sign with Mayor Adams had to side with Trump, or he was going to go to jail. Like
Mm-hmm.
they had some charges on him. Like they were gonna. He might not have been to jail, but he'd had to quit. They were gonna pull. So once he opened up Rikers Island and he started easing, the DOJ comes. You know what? He's not that bad of a guy. Let's ease up off Mayor Adams a little bit. So he had no choice if he wanted to stay in his job and potentially not go to jail. He didn't have a choice. He had to
Well,
side.
he had to play. He had to play ball. But then the thing is, what happened was, he agreed with what was going on in the city of New York when it came to the amount of money that was being spent on documented, folks.
Yeah,
And as soon as he opened his mouth and said that, that's when they start. That's again, you're not toting the line. So now we're going to come at you. Now we're going to go after you. And at that point, it's like, well, shit. Now who do I go to? So, you go to the Cheeto man, and you gotta,
yeah,
go and align yourself in that area. Not necessarily, intertwine with that whole belief system and group, but you can run parallel, and that's what every political that's the problem with politics now that you didn't have years ago. Is interesting is you can't have politicians, be a Democrat and Republican, but can still agree on certain things. Now when you see it, it's so few and far in between. And even when they agree on something, it's still disagreeing. And Lord knows when you really hate someone like they hate some of these politicians. Trump's one of them. The guy can sit there and say, "Hey, we're gonna, hey Doc, what's up?"
Hey, Doc.
Can come in there and make a declarative statement. Like you said, he could find a cure for cancer. They'd be like, "Nah, yeah, you're still nope. I think we need to impeach you because that you cured best breast cancer. What about brain cancer? You fucking
Yeah.
asshole." You know. So that's that's the world of politics. It spins and spins and spins, but
That's it. Hey Doc, you going to be at the TPA thing at Ish's Lounge coming up? I just heard about that.
you're gonna go to that? That's in Florida, right?
It's in Florida. It's not too far from me.
Yeah.
If Doc Rodriguez can get me a free pass for maybe a day, I may swing over there.
I'll send you. I'm a member. I can send you my membership badge, and you could go in as Kerr.
Yeah, I don't want to get kicked out. Because
they'll think you're Kerr.
PCA, coming with different people's badges.
They're gonna show it there, gonna be like, "We're gonna kick you out." Why? Because I'm not Kerr? No, because you are Kerr. We don't think God's a jackass. No. I'm sure Doc will hook you up. So now that we've hit midstream here at 51 minutes, you had an interesting question that you posed during our chat the other day, back and forth. So
yeah, and actually, and I dreamt about it last night. Like all night. I finally like at 3 o'clock, like 3 o'clock in the morning. I finally had to sit out of bed, and I had to tell myself, "Listen, stream's not going anywhere." So I'm luckily I'm like one of the few people that can control the narrative of my dreams a lot of times. And I said, "Listen, let's just move on to something else." So I went back to sleep and we moved on to something else. So on KMA Talk Radio this past Saturday, they do a segment called "Would You Rather," and it's always whatever, get a butt massage from your dad or French kiss your mom or whatever. It's things like that. We used to play that as kids, but they had a really good one this time, and it made a lot of people think, and it made me think. It was. Would you rather travel back in time to have dinner with your previous self or travel forward in time to have dinner with your future self? And that one was tough for me.
Nah, mine's simple.
But after dreaming last night and having dinner with my past self and screwing up a whole bunch of shit for future Kevin, I changed my mind and it was having dinner with my future self.
What?
Yeah.
Really? See, mine was just. I am interested in your thought process behind that before I start criticizing it.
I'm
open-minded, Kevin. Explain to me why.
I don't have a thought because I'm afraid to say something to make something. That's what my dream was about. And I kept restarting the dream. I would have dinner with myself, and then I would say something, and then something else would change. Like I would have 1 kid instead of 2. And then I'd start it over, and then I never met Jessica, and then started over, and I never started the cigar company. So it was every time I would say something,
the butterfly effect.
A butterfly effect. It kept changing the future thing. So I'm like, all right, so I'll go future, and then and hoping that future Kevin doesn't screw up like previous Kevin did in my dream and say something else. So you would go to the past?
Yeah, well, you bring up a couple really good points there that do make sense, right? I mean, it's like, okay, if I go back in the past, if I say, hey, you should have zigged when you zagged, you don't have your kids,
Yeah.
Or you should, and I think those are very valid points. So again, whatever. I just have a problem with having a meeting with future. It's like, hey, you're gonna have a meeting with future Carrie, and like, okay, and it's like, it's 2028. You're not that far in the future. What's gonna happen next? But
okay, so here you get to choose though. So
But
you get to choose the age of the person.
well, again, hey, I want to talk to future Kerry when he's 75. Yeah, a little lower. 70, a little lower.
Wait, what?
68,
Why?
a little lower. I'm like, I want to talk to
Is
past Kerry because
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to tell him
Is
to freaking stop eating fried foods because of parents.
yeah, yeah. Is he in jail?
Yeah,
Is he in the CIA? Is there a reason why other than he's dead?
you can't.
You
You can't.
know, so
Okay, now you can see Kerry when he's 67. However, are you okay with talking between glass and a phone? Um,
yeah.
no, I would go back if I had to make the decision. It probably would be to go back in the past, and knowing everything that I know that you can have that butterfly effect. I think having a conversation with future care is just going to go see how my story ends, right? So there is a benefit to that because if you go visit future Kevin or future care and it's a hot fucking mess, you could be like, okay, well, maybe we could have some conversations. I can make some decisions where I'm at my place now to not end up like that, right? But if
Yeah,
you're
but
freaking
yeah.
in a gold, if you're awesome, you can still fuck that up. If you go back in the past, I think you have the opportunity to give some sage advice as a
But you can, let's say this, you can't give advice. You can only have dinner and you can only talk about like generalized stuff. So there's no advice being given, future or past.
then you just undermine your own rationale on why you wouldn't go in the past.
I think I would screw it up though. Like I
You
would
wouldn't be
say
allowed to, though. We know how you
you
do
know,
like to say some things, and not allowed to.
yeah.
But if you couldn't do it, listen. If someone has the power to take you back in time, then they have the power to regulate what can be heard and not
Okay.
heard.
Okay. So let's go with that. So you can
Okay.
go back in time or go forward in time, any time that you want, any age. It's regulated. You're not going to be able to say anything to
Just
affect.
have a conversation.
Just have a conversation about what's going on in the news, politics, religion,
Conversation.
friends and family. Hey,
Am
what
I
you know? Would you?
am I allowed to get physically confrontational? Because if so, I would like to go back and I would like to go back to younger care and punch him in the face.
Yeah. No.
That
No. Yeah.
no. All right. Well, then that just screws the whole thing up. I
So you
still
can
go
just
back
ask
and
them
talk.
quite. Yeah. Yeah.
I still go back. I still go back and talk to young
What?
care.
What age?
I would go back probably somewhere around 17, 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then RJ, so you can watch this on Twitter, Twitch, Kick, LinkedIn, Rumble, 2 YouTube channels, 2 Facebook channels. So that's where you can. So we got people watching from various platforms. So 18-year-old Care, you'd
17,
want to go
18-year-old
back.
care.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
I'd
what
like
so what so what year was that? Like what was
uh
going on? So
87, 88.
87, 88. Oh, yeah, that's a good time to have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Hang out, listen to freaking Motley Crue, probably, a little bit of Cinderella at the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think if you could have a conversation and um, like you said, if you can't give advice or anything, but maybe you could, you can learn a little bit more. Maybe just the conversation that you have may enlighten younger me a little bit more, without really kind of tipping your hand and saying, "Hey, um, don't date this girl or don't go down that aisle, just don't go to that bar," or whatever the case may be. I think it's definitely something I would like to do, just and try not to slap myself, at that age. I do see the benefit of talking to an older, care as well, but I I think I would want to go visit younger me that has a whole life ahead of him versus knowing that I'll be talking to some old bitter man who's just going to be shaking his fist at birds that are chirping too loud or something. Um,
Yeah, see me. So I sit down with dinner with my future self, and the first thing I say is I don't want to know how old you are because I want to meet my future self 1 year before he dies. So I don't want to know how old you are. So hopefully he doesn't look real fucking young. Hopefully he looks old as shit. You know, yeah. So 1 year before future Kevin dies, sit down across the table, have some dinner, and just ask him, are you happy? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
So that's what
I'll just go back to young Kerr and be like, why are you so angry? Like, what gives, man?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, why are you so angry? And then maybe so that's actually very good, because because maybe there's something that happened that you're forgetting. Like, why are you so angry? And then you're like, listen, and then
I know why. I know why now. The problem is back when you're 17, 18, it's in the 80s, you didn't really have people walking up to you or your family walking up to you or a therapist coming up to you or a freaking egg going, why are you angry? Like back then it was just like, hey, stop being, just shut up, go away. It was like, we always laugh about Generation X, but it was like, that's how you dealt with shit. You just kind of pushed it down and moved on. As Bill Burr would say. I think that they're, as much as I kind of thumb my nose at gentle parenting, I think that it's like anything else, right? There are some good ideas behind it, but then whenever it's implemented to the extreme, someone's going to F it up. But I think, back then you didn't have a lot of people coming up and want to talk. You didn't have a, school counselor asking what's going on. Your school counselor was usually just busting your balls or busting your chops while you're being a freaking jackass in school and misbehaving or doing this and doing that instead of trying to get to the root of the problem.
Yeah, Matt makes it, a point. If we change our past, we wouldn't be who we are today. And I wouldn't want to change my past at all. And not because of the butterfly effect. I've led an amazing life. Like I've never known struggle. Like I've always had a very good life. I've never been rich, but I've also never been poor. I've never wanted for anything. I got married young, had kids young, bought my first house when I was 18. 19, so I've had a fantastic life. It's the best now, that I've ever had, but if you change the future, I wouldn't know any different. I would know different in 30 years when I was,
no, you wouldn't.
Kevin, but
you wouldn't know.
Actually, no. Yeah, you wouldn't
know shit. But that's the thing is someone asked me if there's the other question that I was asked a long time ago is, if there's one thing that you could change, one decision that you made, what would you change? Nothing. I try and live, you live your life with no regrets. And I think there's a lot of flexibility with that term regrets. There's shit that we did that we totally regret, but it also shaped who we are. Right. So I think that it becomes a slippery slope, when you've got to make that decision, you don't talk to future or past, because we all want to go back to that past person and kind of give them a little bit of advice or try and say, hey, give them, a little tidbit of knowledge that you've gained throughout the years, versus talking to someone who are older and kind of, see how things end up. I'm still kind of morbidly curious about that journey. Instead of seeing it, I'm looking forward to the journey. So I wouldn't want to change anything, in my life that has happened. I just, I think if I had to do it, that would be the decision I have to make. Again, this is a fictional, what if you had to choose either or, what would you choose? It's like the lesser of two evils at that point. But
that's it, or no, so if I get advice from you, I wouldn't bother talking to myself. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then Matt's like, being poor made me appreciate the things more and break the cycle to do better in life. Now, Jessica and I have this conversation because Jessica has struggled. Obviously, a single mom, 3 kids. She went through a lot in her life. Nothing that I'd never wish on anybody. And there are times when she tries to explain me something, or we're watching the news, and then she's like, you don't understand because you were never in that situation. You can't understand. Not putting me down or anything else. And I'm like, I know I can't understand, not knowing where my next meal is coming from, not being able to pay rent or my mortgage or my car, not being, like I don't. So I do take it, take for granted the things that I do have in life now, and I can't appreciate them as much as other people would that would be in my same situation. So
I disagree with you though.
yeah.
I think the with what you explained earlier, with how you've lived, right? I think just where did you learn that? If
When I
you got
learned
married,
what
if you got married at a young age, and you bought your house, where did you learn to like? Why do you think that you never had to go without? Why do you think that you said you led a good life, or why do you think that you've been pretty consistent? You've never been rich, never been poor. Why do you think that? Why do you think that
well
that's been the life that you led?
so my dad set a good example for me, like we didn't grow up, I mean, we were, lower middle class growing
Mhm,
up. My dad had to work two jobs a lot of the times, and
mhm.
I always saw that work ethic, and then when there are things that I wanted that I couldn't have because they couldn't afford to give them to me, I just learned at a young age, 13 whatever years old, mowing grass, doing odd jobs around the neighborhood, so I learned it from my dad, just
Right.
do whatever it takes to put food on your family's table and a roof over their head, and you just do what it takes,
Well,
so so
I think that is you appreciating it. You know,
yeah.
and I know what you're saying is like it's like you don't never know what it's like to not know where your next meal is. So I can't appreciate. Well, no, actually, you can appreciate it. That's the reason why you are in a situation you're in. Um, it wasn't like you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Those are sometimes a lot of those folks, or they've been given everything, they can't appreciate where their food, where their shelter, where their clothing, they don't appreciate because they don't know where it's coming from because they don't understand it. Where you grew up with a really good role model, and you also took what you learned and applied it because you do not want to be in this specific area because you appreciate those the basic necessities, and you were always going to be able to provide and not go without. I think that is actually appreciating it, versus not knowing what it's like. And
Yeah.
again, that's relatable. Not knowing what it's like. I mean, I can't say that I've been, in a in certain situations as others when it comes to being poor, but I've hit some pretty bad times, a lot of struggles. I never try and compare them to other folks, but I could say just personally and professionally, there's been some really really tough times, and I think again some of the things, the work ethic that I learned growing up, the persistence, and it also being wise enough to learn from your mistakes and not blame other people for your mistakes. And I think that's really where a lot of folks fall short. So, I think that there is a high level of appreciation of those things, even if you never had to go without.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think that it is independent or specific to, well, you can't appreciate what it's like unless you've gone without. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah. You make a good point. You definitely make a good point. Brian had posted, we can't give advice to our future self or past self, Brian. Well, invest in Amazon. So when I was a few months into dating Jessica, and Graham was all excited because he ordered a pizza online with his Bitcoin. And he had a single Bitcoin, and it was like $12. And he said something to me. He's like, "You should get in on this." I'm like, "Shut up, kid."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I had the money, to buy, I mean, because Bitcoin's at 100 grand now. I mean, I could have dropped $100,
Yeah.
like I could have, took, a couple $100 I had in a drawer somewhere that I'd forgotten about and bought the Bitcoin. So yeah.
Who knew though? Because again, like you said, when you have a teenage kid going, "Oh, dude, Bitcoin, I'm gonna buy myself a pizza," dude. You really this is the future, and you're sitting there going, you know, dude, come on, man. Cash is king. What do you mean Bitcoin? What the hell is Bitcoin? It's good. It's all
Yeah.
no. Get the hell out of here.
I know,
Kind of
he was
stupid
yeah.
freaking comic book shit are you selling me now?
That's it. He was smart about two things. He tried to get me into Bitcoin, and he did get me into Rick and Morty, because he was yelling one day, "I'm Pickle Rick." And I'm like, what the fuck is that? So he did get me watching Rick and Morty. So I listened to him on one of those things, so
yeah. One would have made you a multimillionaire. The other one just as good entertainment.
That's it. So
that's funny. But yeah, I just I remember the whole Bitcoin craze and thinking the same thing. I was like, you gotta be shitting me.
oh yeah.
What do you what this is ridiculous. This doesn't make sense. But again, how many people probably thought that when they came out with credit cards, right?
Oh, that's it. We just watched the like the Titans that built America or something, and all about credit cards and how they got started with Diners Club, and that was like the first. That was really good. But yeah, it's so yeah, you're choosing 18-year-old past Carrie, and I'm choosing to have dinner with 1 year before he dies, Kevin. So.
That's interesting. I mean, I think it's one of those things that when you sent me the question out of the gate, I knew my answer right away.
Yeah.
But again, like most things, because I'm open-minded, after hearing your argument to speaking to future Kevin, I'm like, and not wanting to talk to past Kevin, I was like, you know what? That makes sense. I could be swayed either way,
Yeah. I just want to know that I die happy. That's all I want to know. And not not knowing any of the other details. I could be rich living in a mansion. I don't know those details. Whatever. I just want to know that, Kevin finished out his life happy. So, which I'm assuming I will. I've got a great family. Amber, let's see. Do you know how you die? So do you try to prevent it? No, I don't want to know. I want it to be a surprise. So
what if you were sent in the future to kill yourself?
Oh, that was the movie with Bruce Willis. That was a good movie.
Yeah.
But you went into the past.
Yeah.
Or did he go in the future? Yeah.
Looper.
Yeah.
Yeah, the past. That was a really crazy movie. That was definitely a good one. So yeah, it's like, hey, I just want to have dinner with future Kevin. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's another part of this little thing, Kevin. Yeah. Kevin does die, but Kevin dies because Kevin kills Kevin.
What? Yeah, I just want to know that we're having dinner, and future Kevin 1 year before he dies orders some chicken nuggets or some chicken tenders and a Bacardi and diet. That's all. I just have to see what future Kevin's eating, and if he's eating that, I could walk away from the table going, future Kevin is happy. He's got.
You're gonna roll up the future Kevin. He's gonna be like, yeah, I'm having a Bacardi and Coke.
Yeah.
What? No, you mean diet, don't you?
Yeah.
Nah, I switched to Coke. I don't want to have this dinner. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
Future Kevin's stupid.
Yeah, you've got to tell me where things went wrong. I've got to change them. I got to know.
Yeah, I'm a millionaire now, and I'm living in this mansion. I don't care. I want to know where Diet Coke stopped and regular Coke started, because this is bullshit, future Kevin.
And it better be they outlaw Diet Coke. That's the only acceptable answer. Is they outlaw Diet Coke. So. But yeah, I'd like to talk about another topic. I can't remember if we talked about this or not. That was the other topic of KMA that came up. Was did we talk about wiping last week? No.
I think you asked the question. I think no. Did you? No.
No, I knew we talked. I knew we talked maybe in like the bullies chat or I was chatting with a few people about it. So yeah, they outlawed Diet Coke.
I think maybe you asked. No, you asked the question. You took a picture and asked a question online. You asked the
Yes.
question.
Yeah, I couldn't remember where I talked about it. So everybody, yeah, check standing or sitting. So here's the thing. So I was watching a TikTok video, and this lady was super shocked because she was, I think, my age or so, and she just found out there were people that stand to wipe after they go number 2. So I posted this on Facebook. I go, hey, I just learned out that like there are 2 different types of wipers: people that stay seated and wipe, and then people that stand to wipe. I thought it was just going to be like everybody's be like, that's the dumbest thing. I would say 50% of the people on that in that chat on my Facebook post stand to wipe. And then like I think like I don't know if it was on that one or I was DMing a bunch of people that did not want to have this conversation on Facebook. So and then someone's like,
wow.
and it was yeah, you sit and then you just reach around and then you wipe back to front. And I'm like, I want to be like, well, you're disgusting and you should unfriend me. If you reach underneath and wipe back to front, like
that's terrible.
That's yeah, I never knew that there. So wait a minute, so you're not answering my question. I never knew there was an option. You know, you could be the standard and be like, sit. Well, I didn't know that was an option.
But you're saying reach and wipe from back to front?
Yeah, you reach down, your legs are spread into the toilet bowl. You reach down, you reach underneath, and you pull it forward.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff in the way when you're pulling it forward. I mean, that's like raking leaves back on your yard.
Yeah, I know. That's a good analogy, right?
Holy crap, man!
Right there.
I mean, at least when you're going the other way, it's like there's at least the whole standing or sitting. It's at least going nowhere. You know, you're at least reaching an end point. This is
you're taking it away. You're taking it away from you.
If you're doing that, then your next question would be like, okay, are you going left or right? You know, or like, you know, at what point are you going to continue dragging that mess, or do you just stop and let it collect? Oh, that's disturbing. Oh,
you know, and a few people were, you know, the bidet type people, you know, so I'm like, all right, I've never used a bidet. You know, people say it's, you know, I just have I have a problem with cleanliness of a bidet. You know, if it's spraying up, that stuff is going everywhere. Does it get back down on the bidet? You know, you get up, your bidet's you know.
There's a lot of questions with that. I mean, listen, dude, if I freaking turn the water faucet on it and I'm getting water splashed on my t-shirt,
yeah,
that's all I gotta say. I mean, my brother-in-law likes a bidet, and they actually bought one that connects to their toilet, like at Walmart or what. Nothing like freaking class at a Walmart bidet. But and I just go, okay, I get the concept of the cleanliness of the water, right, and not the irritation of wiping. I'm like, but man, I splash myself with the water just when I wash my hands. Like, I can't imagine what in God's name spray freaking pattern and radius that's going on here. And go in. I like to have a black light go into a room that's got a bidet. It probably looks like a fucking Pollock painting.
You know, so there was one and I'm pretty sure this person commented on my Facebook. He may have messaged me DM, but I think it was on Facebook that it was that his like me, like his shower is right next to the bathroom. Like I could open up my shower curtain and jiggle down my hose, you know, because I have a big round thing and then a hose if we want to bring it down and wash the dog.
Thing is all right. It's a
conversation. Yeah, so if you want to wash your dogs, you bring down the center section and then you have it down there. That he would reach down and pull it on, you know, sometimes, and then instead of the bidet, just kind of stick that in there and use that. And I'm like, oh, and he's like, well, I know you, Kevin, so I clean it afterwards. So I'm like, you can't clean that enough.
No,
you could.
No,
you,
no,
no,
no. That's like, thank you very much. I will never visit you ever.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, let me find that out. That's, you know, like there's no, you could take it, you could clean it. No, you can't clean it.
So they're taking the nozzle from the shower and then
and then sticking it underneath and then just turning it on. to hose down what's going on
Dude,
down
I would
below.
never visit that person because then they leave that freaking room and touch everything in their house, and I don't even know. At that point, that's fucking horrible.
Yeah, and this one over or under. If you're under, you're just. I think Hitler was under. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave it at that. You
Listen,
know, it. Now Abe did say that he only uses dude wipes, so he doesn't use toilet paper. He likes the soft wipes.
I've used soft wipes before, but then I realized after freaking spending several $100s at freaking Roto-Rooter that they really are not biodegradable. But when it comes to over under, that doesn't bother me because if you are able to get it on the post and not have it just sit on the back of the toilet or on a shelf, and you can replace it, you got a free pass for me. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
So, John, if you watch KMA this past, which you normally watch KMA, we're talking about whether you stand or sit to wipe as a conversation, and of course, everybody's on KMA is like, of course, that's what Kevin would put on Facebook. You know, it's like leave it to Kevin. You know, to throw that out there. So, Coop didn't really want to engage in the conversation, which I understand. Coop's a little bit more reserved, but then it just made me wonder: is he a stander? Does he stand? Is that why he didn't want to engage? I don't want to throw anything out there. I mean, I'm not, you know, but he's like I said, he's a little more reserved in that. So I you know, respect his decision for not diving into the toilet conversation. But yeah, it's I've never used a bidet, so I don't know. I've never grabbed my shower curtain thing and used that as a bidet either, because that would be disgusting. I mean, I had a customer today. You know, I was writing something and I pointed the ticket. I'm like, hey, is this your correct phone number? And he grabs my pen and he circles something. He writes it on the sheet and he hands me my pen back. And I go, that is your pen now. And I reached underneath the counter and opened up a fresh box, pulled out a fresh, clean pen and tucked it in my shirt. So yeah, I don't even want to use somebody else's pen, let alone that. It reminds me of a TikTok video years ago. Jessica showed me, and it was a guy, and it was a trending for a while, and it was like, and the song was "You Can't Eat at Everybody's House," and it was a lady's like, "Hey, here's a hack because my toilet seat, like you push two buttons into the side, you can pull the whole thing off." But she did that and then put it in her dishwasher. And like, here's a hack. Just put it in your dishwasher. And then the guy comes in. Oh, you can't eat at everybody's house. And
oh
it's
my
like,
god!
Let me find out.
Fucking hey, man, what's wrong with people? You know, I think when you asked me, so you're a sitter, right? You're not a stander.
Yeah. No, because you got to either sitter or stander. I imagine if you're a stander, it's got to be like a Captain Morgan's. Like you got to put your foot up on the toilet seat or the shower. You know,
I think I'm a hybrid.
You know, but as soon as you stand up, you know, your butt cheeks clap together and like that just smears everything.
Well, I'm a hybrid. So I start with the sit. The first is a sit, and then from there it is a partial stand, a squat mode. And then making sure that, you know, we get some distance between me and the seat. Because there's nothing worse than like freaking, you know, getting your hand trapped in there, or, you know, you ever do the whole, like when you're in someone's house or you're in the freaking public toilet where the freaking toilet seat's not attached too freaking strong, and then it freaking does the old slide over, you know?
Oh yeah.
And then it's like at that point, it depends on where certain freaking anatomy parts, shit can get pinched, and that's never a freaking good day at the office. Or if you depends on the water level, that one little nubby freaking toilet seat shift down can be the difference between dry and going, oh my gosh, I just broke the surface.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
So you got to be really careful.
Yeah, Matt was Matt. I would make an anonymous complaint. I would send a letter afterwards. Like that can't happen.
That's Poppy.
Like that. You know, you came out of the bathroom, didn't wash your hands. No, I would. I don't know if I could go back. Because I am a germaphobe. Just in case people haven't figured that out. Like I don't think I could go back. No, and now I know people are nasty motherfuckers. I know that. That's why I can't touch that guy's pen, my pen, after that guy touched it. It just there's certain things I just cannot do. Figure goes through the toilet paper. Oh no. The worst for me was I used to be a lot less of a germaphobe, when I was younger. It seemed like as I got older, it just kind of like things bothered me a lot more. Now, like when I used to work construction, so you'd go into a porta-john.
Yeah.
And it's either two things. There is either a mound, like a pyramid of poop that was just all stinky. I preferred that because at least when you pooped, it would hit the mound and it would roll off, versus a freshly cleaned porta-john. You're just looking at it and you just know what's going to happen, or there's not enough in there and you get the blue water splash. Yeah. And that little it either gets all over your underwear, and there's been some times I think it went inside me like a laser beam. It just splashed and it comes straight up like back into your BH, and it's just like, oh, well, there I got syphilis. It's just that's
0.5% of my blood now is blue.
Yeah, so the blue water splash from the porta-john. So
oh my god, that's great.
That was and he was working in the humidor. I don't.
No, that's not good, man. That's a Poppy moment from Seinfeld. He comes out freaking. You don't wash your hands, forget about it. I'm careful, but I'm not a germaphobe to the point like what you speak of. I mean, there's I've always lived by the rule, never ignore the call to stool.
Yeah.
So when I gotta go, I gotta go. And it's like I will find a place to go, and even if it's kind of gross, if I gotta go, I gotta go.
If I gotta go, I gotta go.
I'm the vacate. But I know, like my brother-in-law, there's some folks that will like Joe's in high school. Joe, come through the door, boom, right? What? I'm not using the bathrooms at school. I was like, dude, there has to be one stall that is less gross than the others.
Yeah, you just build. I've been in public bathrooms that didn't have ass gaskets, on the wall. So you take your toilet paper and then you just put 9 or 10 layers down everywhere.
But man, that's just the ass gas. I think that is. I have to research this. I think the ass gaskets are it. I think that is just a myth. I think that's just a whoopee to make you feel better. I don't think it does anything.
I pull out several and
put
them in and flush it. No, because you don't take the first one. The first one has poop on it. Because either from people grabbing it,
I don't care
from
the first or
for the spray
thin layer. What's it going to protect you from?
Oh no, I put a couple of them down.
Still.
But
all that's going to do is stick to me. So now I gotta be concerned whether I got extra toilet paper and freaking, crepe paper stuck to me because I do sweat. Plus you got to make sure that the hole that you've created or that freaking crepe paper that you put on there, the parchment paper actually has a sufficient hole to allow all that needs to pass through. Because if you sit on it and it just shifts a little bit the wrong way. Yeah, now you got a whole different mess on your hands.
Yeah, I've almost shit my pants from having to spend that time from building my protection on the in the bathroom.
I'd rather I have done the lateral freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger squat and hover over the seat before I'll try and build up toilet paper on that seat because I've had one too many situations where that freaking, I'll sit and the freaking paper, those freaking little stupid toilet doilies rip, they tear, they shift. It's just, I think it's a whoopee. That's what I think it is. I don't think it does any good.
What is this? The ass gases come out of the seat at the push of a button? What is this? They're building a Buc-ee's by me, like 15 minutes away.
Oh, so those are the freaking ones that zip around.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I've never experienced that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Can't wait for that. But
because I think the toilet seats round are like a horseshoe, but that horseshoe feeds in. and then it's like you press the button, it just is kind of like a conveyor belt, and just whoop, has
Oh,
a fresh
okay.
coating. You sit on it, do your business, get up. Next person comes in, press the button, and it goes a circle goes around.
Oh, that's pretty ingenious.
Or do you ever see those
I
toilets that you can get that there's it's mirrored? There's a toilet here and a toilet here, and then what they
oh yeah,
do
yeah,
is
and it
the
switches.
whole water just comes in and like freaking
Yeah,
washes everything and then switches around.
yeah, I've seen that. So those are cool.
So that's what if you had if Kevin had future Kevin, that's your question. It's like, listen, do you have fuck you money? Do you have a
Yeah,
toilet that cleans itself? Like it has a mirror on the other side, it just the one side just completely like douses it with freaking antibacterial freaking shit and scrubs and water, and then when you're done, it just flips around. So every time it's a fresh, smelly, nice, clean toilet.
yeah, that'd be awesome. Does a bad wiping situation ruin the day? I don't think I've ever had a bad wiping
Yeah,
situation.
yeah.
You know, I know as a mechanic, sometimes like I say we're in a hurry, so you'll go to the bathroom, then like an hour later, like you're sweating, and you're like, I should probably go wipe again.
Yeah,
I
that's a
can
bad
find
webby situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I can feel now that I didn't do a thorough job the first time. You know,
Well,
and sometimes the guys will bust on me at work because my hands they're not dirty like all day long, but they got a thin coat of dust on them and dirt. You know, because I wear gloves all the time at work, like not rubber gloves. I wear mechanics because I don't want my hands all chewed up. You look at a typical mechanic my age, and at the end of the day, when they wash their hands, you could see the millions of little cuts that the greases stayed into. I never want my hands to look like that because every now and then Jessica lets me touch her boob, and I don't want to have rough sandpaper hands. You know, on that one occasion she lets me touch her boobie. So yeah, so I wear gloves, and then but that thin layer of dirt keeps me protected. I tell people, I'm like, yeah, you know, people are like, oh yeah, you know, you touch people's, you know, seats, their cars, their keys. I'm like, thin layer of dirt, baby. That's in my brain. That's keeping me safe from that
yeah,
dirt
yeah.
or from that germs actually touching my
I can
skin.
imagine getting in people's cars. That'd be the number
You,
one reason why I wear
you
gloves.
call that a comeback. Yeah, it's like, oh, got to come
Yeah.
back. Yeah, got it.
So before I address the prolonged wipe like John calls it, I do have a question for you. Does Jessica is she honored that you protect your hands for her boob?
I
It's
don't
all for
think she
her.
is. I don't think she is. I think that I need to get. I know two mechanic friends of mine that I would like to have touch Jessica's boob, just so she can appreciate how soft and supple my hands are when I touch said boob.
I
So,
think Jessica would like to weigh in on having your other mechanic friends touch her boob, so you can compare and contrast a rough, gruff, lava soap scrubbing set of hands
yeah,
versus your soft, delicate, Dawn,
yeah.
soft hands. But I heard, you ever watch Parks and Recreations?
I religiously the first few seasons, and then like everything else, I just got out of it for any
Yeah,
reason. And
it's I mean it's funny, and I enjoy the clips more so than the show itself.
yeah, so that's what I watch now. Like the
Yeah,
clips I watch constantly.
but what's his name? He was young back then too. The hell's his name? He plays Star Lord in the Marvel movies now. Chris, shit's this guy.
Oh, Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt. Chris
Yeah.
Pratt talks about he's like, doctor, yeah, I go to the bathroom and when I wipe, it just doesn't stop. It's like wiping a magic marker.
Yeah, yeah, it's like a brown marker, you know. Yeah, I saw that one.
That's that's when you know you're gonna have a bad day. You're like, listen, I vacated about 95% or 90%. The others just not wanting to come out, but it's not wanting to stay all the way in. And that's when you know it's gonna be a bad day. That's when
Oh my god.
sometimes I'll go back for the double dose of Metamucil, be like, I gotta muscle the rest of this out because
Yeah.
if not, like you said, you start getting freaking hot and sweaty, it gets itchy. You're like, I know exactly what it is. I know
Yeah,
it's gonna
yeah.
happen, man.
Yeah. And then usually, you know, in the Florida, usually it only happens like twice during the summertime. You know, for me, you know, it's just like, you know, you go in and shower and then you go out and you throw your underwear away. You just give up. You
Oh,
just
yeah.
because for me, you look at them like, no fucking way I'm washing the rest of my clothes in that.
No,
So
no.
yeah,
I wouldn't even
and
want freaking Jennifer to have to even take a look at that and then wash it. If she looked at
yeah,
that, she'd be like, "What? What? Why am I here? Why am I still here?
yeah.
What? This?"
So yeah, because I have a method to washing my clothes. I do my socks, underwear, and undershirts in one load, and then by themselves. But that's the last load I do because I do like my shirts and shorts, and then I do my work uniforms, pants, then shirts, and then my socks and underwear. Because then I know that there's going to be 3 or 4 loads, 6 loads before I got to do laundry again in the next 2 weeks. So there's a safe. So everybody else is getting whatever's left in the machine up that didn't. And I know it's clean. We have a very efficient washing machine, but I couldn't think of doing my underwear and then doing like my regular shirts or my work, because that just the thought
You
of
want
that
a
just
poop
couldn't
t-shirt?
I couldn't deal with.
You want a poop
So
t-shirt?
yeah, I don't want, even though there's no poop on it, just the thought of there being a poop t-shirt, I just
Like
can't
that
handle that.
dirty underwear, we just rub it against your shirt.
Yeah, I take, like in the bathroom, like I take off my undershirt, I lay it on the toilet, I spread it out, and then I take my underwear off, I put it in the center of the shirt, and then I make a little burrito with my underwear in the middle. So after I'm done with the shower, then I take my pants, I grab the shirt, underwear, I grab the underwear burrito with my pants so I can't even chance touching anything, and then I take that to the laundry, dump the burrito into its own hamper, and then I put my work uniform in the other hamper. And
Do you good.
if anything touches me, I got to get back in the shower.
Do you deconstruct that burrito before you put it in the
No,
wash?
nope. I just take my laundry and then I open up the washer and I throw it in. Um, throw it in. I don't touch anything, nothing. I just fling it all in.
And you don't use gloves?
I do have if I need them, I do have laundry gloves in the laundry area.
What
They're
does
like
Jessica say about this weird ritual of underwear t-shirt burrito?
she tries not to think about it. It's just
I can imagine.
the day in the life of me. Or yet you take off your clothes like George Costanza after watching that the 3D photo,
Yeah, I remember I had a buddy of mine who was a assistant manager of one of the enterprise rent a cars I worked at, and he would do that every time he wanted to take a dump. He'd take a shirt off, like Costanza. It's like every time he'd take a shirt off. It's what I do. It's like, what do you mean? You take your whole shirt off? Oh yeah, take my whole shirt off.
That's
Like
just
to be a
opening
little
up more skin to germs.
That's the opposite of what you want. But I'm
Yeah,
interested in your in your ritual there. So
yeah.
so you're telling me after you make your freaking Book of the Mo's underwear and t-shirt burrito, and then you take your pants or your shorts and you use that as a mitt, right?
Yes.
And you pick it up, and if that t-shirt burrito were to hit your wrist, do you follow through with getting rid of it, or do you just drop it right there, just hop right in the shower?
So I would continue. Now the shirt can touch me because I know that's the barrier. The underwear can never touch
But
me
how do you know that
ever.
t-shirt part didn't touch the underwear part, and now you're going to be touched with
I
underwear
have
by?
I have to have faith that my
That's
burrito
where your
wrapping
faith
skin.
starts. Okay,
That's where my faith starts.
okay, just wanted to make
So
sure.
yeah. So even at the end of the night, when I take my socks off, like when I get out of the shower, I put socks on, and at the end of the night, when I go to take my socks off, I pinch like because I wear ankle socks, so I pinch the ankle sock and I pull it off with my fingers inside out, and then I fling it in the basket. So I know the ankle part doesn't have anything with my feet on it, and so I fling those in there. So yeah, Jessica, I can't touch dirty laundry with my hands. But yeah, if for some reason someone bumped into me and that burrito came undone and it touched me in any way, it's getting in the shower and starting all over again.
What's your okay? Now this is gonna be interesting. So what's your scrubbing ritual in the shower? So we already got your disrobing ritual, which is t-shirt, underwear, burrito. Your shorts obviously are off because you took your underwear off. You take your socks off, but it doesn't matter. You don't do the freaking pinchy thing because you're already dirty, right?
Yeah. The socks doesn't make
Yeah,
a difference.
socks
I
doesn't
take
make
the
a
socks
difference.
off in the bedroom before I walk to the shower.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to glaze over that important fact. So now you hop in the shower. Walk us through
Just like washing your car from the top down. And then
right?
just like washing your car, you have a separate mitt for the dirtiest parts, your tires and rims. You don't ever let that touch the rest of your car. So I have several devices, like the loofah, which I, replace occasionally. That's the nasty areas. So that does the undercarriage. So start at the top, and then as my beard shampoo is doing its thing and then fizzing up, you wash your undercarriage, and then with your loofah, you rinse your loofah out, and then you put more soap on the loofah, and you get the loofah sparkling clean. So you do that a couple times to get it clean. Then you hang it back up.
But
And
how
then
do
I
you
grab
get yeah, but that loofah though, here's where I'm asking though. So your loofah does the freaking twigs and berries and the freaking
yeah.
and the tar pit. So but that loofah's got so many different microfibers and holes that you can't get all that crap out of it. I don't care how much you soap up. So let's say you go through the Kevin ritual, soaping up that loofah to clean it up. The next time you go in that shower, that loofah has extra fecal matter.
But it's only touching that area, so that doesn't bother me as much. I understand. I know that. I know you can't get it clean 100%.
Okay.
So there are things as a germaphobe that you either don't leave the house or you just learn to accept. So there are things I just learn to accept.
Because here's I what I do is I have a loofah, right? Now my loofah is for my all my parts other than the freaking, the man zone, right? That I bring in a wash rag. And I do the man parts first because I want them nice and squeaky clean. Then I'll go to the freaking sarlacc pit and scrub that up. And then after that, rinse it off. And then that goes washed right away. That's a one use only.
Oh, really?
One use only wash rag. So now I've loofah'd my body because that loofah is just going to have stink and sweat and stuff on it. So once I clean that loofah off, that loofah never touches the freaking nether regions because whenever I want to wash myself again, I'm going to use a clean wash rag to do the freaking twig and berries and the sarlacc pit. And then every single time that area gets a clean wash rag for the front and then the back. Always got to do the back last. You got to freaking the sarlacc pit. That's the last to go. But I'm not going to. I can't use a loofah in that area because I know that once I rinse that loofah off, or even scrub it or clean it, it's still going to have some freaking funk on it, no matter what. And then I'm not going to refunk my area, even if it's a 5% funk. And heaven forbid, if after one night having the show and a couple scotches, I grab the wrong loofah and freaking start doing the old facial area.
Yeah, so, no, that's why I use a mitt with little fingers, and then it's got like the silver impregnated. It's like plastic though. It's not a cloth mitt. It's like a little round thing with a little handle.
You scrub your freaking nether regions with plastic freaking nubs?
No, that's the rest of the loofah.
The body. Okay.
Yeah. So the fingers, and it's impregnated with silver, so it's antimicrobial. Ronnie says that real men sit when they piss at home. I always sit. I got a PA, and it's a pain in the ass to stand. I'll piss all over the place. So I always,
I do too.
I always,
I'm over that whole thing for a long time ago. I'm like, my aim is terrible now, and I just fucking forget about it.
Yeah, and Ronnie's right. Otherwise, you go from spread to sticking. Yeah, it's disgusting. You stand up, and then instantly now whatever's in you, it's everywhere. It's fucking everywhere.
You gotta have
like
it. You have to have it in cycles. You gotta have it. It's a 2-step process. The first process is sitting, wipe. The second one is elevated a little bit, wipe.
Yeah.
So that's because once you start doing that, then you realize the mobility that you have and if your wipe's good or not.
Yeah. Well, I don't take baths because I don't want to sit in my own fucking filth. That's disgusting.
That's fucking horrible.
But yeah, I'm a body wash guy. I'm not a bar soap. I used to do a bar soap, but bar soaps don't get enough lather for me. And being a mechanic and dirty, I mean, I just need that. And I know the body wash isn't good for you with the chemicals and everything else. I try and use or I used to use a good bar soap, but I just need the lather. You know,
you can get good lather. You got to put a little effort into it because I did.
Yeah.
Jennifer gets body wash, and I've did it, but I'm like, you know what? I look at the body washes anymore, and I've, like you said, I've done some research and reading. It's no different. I might as well just grab the freaking Tide and put it on a freaking loofah and spray myself.
Well, that's why they call it body wash instead of body soap because they're not allowed because there's no soap in it. There's there's no saponified oil in a body wash like there is a soap.
So I use Dial. I use the yellow old school Dial. I've had her get me Dial or Ivory, but then she got this new natural stuff. That's the bar soap and deodorant too, because deodorant. I'm a sweater. I sweat. I sweat if I look at a picture of the sun. So and of course, you know, when you sweat like I do, body odor definitely is quick to freaking make its appearance. So I got to have some really good deodorant, but I want to. Too much of these products now just have so much crap in it. So I like to use natural stuff. I used to use Dove, and Jennifer got a bunch of Dove, but Dove is like, I feel greasy. It just leaves a layer of slime on you. It always says, "Oh, Dove, it makes your skin soft." I'm like, no, I might as well just freaking spray myself down with freaking Crisco. It gives you that same gross, greasy feeling. But I'm telling you, Kev, a wash rag. Clean wash rag.
I never used a wash rag with my bar soap. I always use the bags, like the charcoal bags that you put the soap into. Yeah. And then you use
for your body, but I'm saying for your junk.
Yeah.
For your freaking your beef and tube
Yeah, potatoes. I can't do a wash rag. It's disgusting.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like I can get a loofah a lot cleaner than a wash rag.
Well, a wash rag, okay.
Yeah, but you're one and done on those.
Yeah, of course. I would never reuse my wash rag to rewash my junk again. No, fuck no. That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like your underwear. You know, you're not going to reuse your underwear.
Yeah, no.
You know, you got to wash it. So same thing when it comes to a wash rag. Use it, done. Loofah, I am not comfortable or confident in my own self to get that loofah confidently freaking clean to say, I'm going to reuse that tomorrow on myself and it's going to work and I'm not going to be rubbing freaking excessive fecal matter on my freaking junk.
Time heals all wounds, you know? So, and then other people shower after me. So I'm assuming some of their soap and water is getting on my loofah and just helping rinse off any stuff that I may have not gotten.
No.
So
no, I even have, we have a big garden tub that we never use because again, that's just a fucking big gross thing. So when I'm done with my wash rag, I rinse it off really good, and I wring it out. A wash gun wring it out. I just go whoop right over, boom, right into the tub, and it'll dry. And once it's dry, then it can go in the wash because I won't put freaking wet, freaking gross.
Oh yeah, no
ass towel in the no. It just got to dry a little bit. So
and speaking of towels. Jessica has been using the same towels. You know, she washes them quite often for years. You can see through her towels.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I have to have fresh towels like at least once a year, if not every 9 months. Like fresh, clean, fluffy towels that just absorb all that.
There's something to be said about old towels because Whenever Jennifer gets new towels, I always
I
feel
hear
like
ya.
I always feel like I feel like I would get drier if I just rolled around on the carpet
So you gotta
because
wa it's like using a new mop head. You gotta let it soak. So a new towel, you gotta wash 3 or 4 times to
but
get
I
to
like
break
something
to
about an
break.
old towel that just absorbs better. I love it. I like old towels. I'm an old towel guy. I like using it. It's getting too thin. But the newer towels, like I said, I might as well just roll around on the carpet to try and get dry. They're terrible.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't have the patience to muscle through that.
I have 3 towels. They're all I've used the same color gray towels for 20 years. God forbid anybody discontinues my color. Yeah, same style of towel. Yeah, I have one for my body, one for my hands, and then one for my face after I'm done brushing my teeth. So I have like three separate towels.
Oh, your towel's just the one that hangs next to your sink, though, right? The hand
Yeah,
towel. Okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, that makes
So,
sense. I mean, yeah, our
but
towel
yeah,
situation at
yeah.
home is just it's like it. There's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no matching towels. I think when you're younger or if you have OCD, it's like that whole nice looking matching towel set. It's like that's over and done with. It's like, okay, I got my brown hand towel. I got the freaking green and white striped freaking towel that's about 30 years old. And then I got a wash rag that I think I ended up buying those, those white stack of rags you can buy at like Home Depot for like
Yeah,
five
yeah,
bucks. That was my
yeah.
wash rags.
Yeah. Oh my god. And then I can't get the kids, Gabby and Wyatt, I got to convert the because it used to be when I moved into the house, if you flip the switch on, it turned the light and the blower on
Mhm.
for the exhaust. So I didn't like that all the time. So I had my buddy's electrician come and put it so where now I have a switch for the light and then a separate switch for the blower. Gabby will take a shower that's 300 degrees. I'll walk in after her. Everything's
Oh,
soaking
yeah,
wet. She refuses to turn the blower on. Everything is dripping wet. It's 100 degrees in there. And it's
fucking
just like,
steam. It
yeah.
takes 10 minutes to clear out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, without a doubt. You walk in and it takes your breath away.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not a big. I think we are going through this too. Are you a hot shower person? Like, do you like scalding hot, hot?
No, no, I'm more cold than hot.
Yeah,
So I have it's warm. Like my
yeah,
like less than my body temperature. So when it
yeah.
comes out, if it feels chilly, like that's the way it is. So if you're 98 degrees, I probably like my shower probably 85 to 90 degrees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jennifer takes it's freaking silk wood. Take your skin off hot.
Oh yeah,
I can't do
that's
that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, hotel towels do dry better. It's because
Oh yeah,
they get washed constantly, and that's the key. If you want a good, like a really good towel, like you'll buy new towels and just wash them for like 6 months every time before you ever use them. Oh, they'll just
uh,
work
I
great.
I told you
Yeah,
I can't get through that. I can't get through. I can't muscle through that. I hate it.
yeah, I'm not a cold shower guy. I can't do.
No, no. I've taken cold showers when I didn't have money to pay the freaking gas bill, or the electric or whatever. I mean, when you have to take a cold shower, or you're in a locker room where the hot's not working. That's the only time. That's it. Hot water heater blew. I'll take okay. Well, then I'll take one at that given moment. But other than that, no, thank you.
I won't when we had the hurricane here and the electricity was out for like 5 days. I wouldn't even get in the shower. I can't do cold showers. I would take the rag and I would just take a horse bath, wash all
Mhm.
the all the necessary bits, and then that was it. I'm not getting in a cold shower.
Yeah, I think Jennifer went over to her dad's house and was taking showers because it was like she refused to take cold shower. I know when
Yeah.
I redid my bathroom when my first house I bought in Harrisburg, I was remodeled my bathroom and it was we was a 1.5 bath, and our full bath. It was like we got midway through and it was like this cost more money than we thought. So I got to wait for my next commission check to finish the bathroom. So it's like what now what? So we had a basin in the bath in the basement with one of those freaking, little freaking plastic freaking dog freaking hoses. And I said, F this, man. That freaking gym down the street has memberships. It's freaking new memberships. It's $5 for the first month. I'm like, I'm gonna join the gym. I'll get fit
Yeah.
and I'll shower there. So that's all I did. I just joined the gym for their shower.
That makes sense.
Better than
So,
cold shower, bro.
yeah, damn right.
Joe's a big cold shower guy now.
Is he?
Oh yeah, yeah. Lives. He swears by him.
Yeah.
About all the health benefits to it and all the other.
It is. I want to try it. They say even at the end of your shower, if you can just turn it on cold all the way and just do 30 seconds and then build up to like a minute or two, same with the cold plunge, but now, now you're starting to hear that the cold plunge doesn't have the benefits that they're saying it does. And I don't know. So now I don't know who to believe. It's like the old eggs are good for you and now they're not thing.
Yeah.
I refuse to shower. I would never shower at a gym. No, that's just, I couldn't, unless I had some water shoes at least. But yeah.
Oh my God. I lived in a locker room. I
know. It's nothing for you.
It's
so, yeah.
nothing. I mean, it's some of the stuff I've seen in a dorm, because what the dorm I lived in, the first dorm I lived in had stalls, right? The second dorm I lived in had a freaking open shower area. And that's the way it was in high school too, where it was like shower heads all around. So
Yeah.
you're just hanging out there with your buddies, taking showers. And you know what it's like, when you got a bunch of freaking jackasses who probably are half, whatever time it is, someone's probably already drunk and you're trying to take a shower and someone's pissing on you, because you're freaking right across the way. I've seen dudes freaking take dumps in there and freaking step and squish it. Seen some horrible, 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 gross stuff that I'm so glad I don't have to ever see that again. But showering in that kind of setting doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Nah.
Well, Kerr, I think we're gonna leave it at that. It's been a wonderful 2 hours. I think everybody has learned just a little bit more about both Kerr and I. I think we really opened up on this show.
Well, it's things that I really, I think it's topics that you can talk about where people don't have to turn their nose up and act like you're being too. We weren't disgusting about it. It was funny.
Yeah.
But it's things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, and it's always interesting to understand where people come from. And when you read some of these comments, I realize some of these people I will never be in a cigar lounge with or visit, based off of what the answers they give us. So
yeah.
So Kevin and I both confirmed tonight we're cool to hang out with each other because we both have a different methodology of showering and washing, but it all has one thing in mind, and that is the separation of body and junk.
That's it. So, all right, everybody, we'll see everybody next week. Hey, if you're watching this tonight, listening to the podcast, we got some advertisers. Check the video description, click some links, and we'll see everybody next Monday night.
See ya.
Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. Yes, Kevin and her. Grab your seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and her with stories in mind. From tech tips to last night's game, join the talk, you'll be glad you came. Puff and Ponder Sports Take Flight.